deliver consistent high purity products to
Ray, welcome to InvestorStream for the first time. For listeners that aren't aware of the company, Besra Gold is focused on the exploration and development of the Bau Goldfield in East Malaysia. Ray, since listing in October last year, what has been the company's main focus?
Well, first of all, Alex, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to talk to your listeners. We're very excited by the listing of Besra, and it will enable us to embark on a very focused program. As you mentioned, Besra has only one asset, that's our Bau project in Malaysia, and our IPO is in fact quite a unique set of circumstances in that the Bau project contains a resource inventory of some 3.3 million ounces, the majority of which is less than 70 or 80 metres below the surface. And in addition to that, we've got an exploration target for another 4.9 or 9.3 million ounces. And what the listing has done is allow us to leverage off these impressive figures to increase our inventory to around about 5 million ounce target so that we can optimise our pre-production strategies. Now, we raised $10 million at this thing, and those funds have already been put to good use. We have, in under 3 months, re-established our footprint at Bau. We've contracted 2 drilling rigs. We've contracted technical and logistical support, and we've negotiated land access arrangements to enable us to have completed now over 800 metres of diamond core drilling. And we've already sent our first samples off for assaying. And this is in spite of the fact that we obviously have the current COVID restrictions on international travel in particular.
Thanks, Ray. Now, I understand that the Bau Goldfield has quite a significant history of gold mining, spanning well over a century. What can you tell us about the geology of Bao, and specifically, what are you targeting here?
Yes, Alex, quite right. The Chinese artisanal miners were known to have worked the Bao area at least since the 1850s. And interestingly, they worked the shallow oxide deposits and established a very extensive gold mineralised corridor of some 8 by 15 kilometres. And of course, in today's geological understanding, we realise that this is a very substantial zone of mineralisation, which is probably just associated with a specific source. Historically, several million ounces of gold have been mined, and Besra, as I just mentioned, has a resource of some 3.3 million ounces. And it's because of our comprehensive geological and geophysical database, including some 250,000 metres of drilling, that we've identified that additional 4.9 to 9.3 million ounces of exploration potential. So it's a very rich area. Geologically, the gold mineralisation is quite young. It's mid-tertiary, around 25 million years in age, in geological terms. And this is refreshing compared to, say, those of your listeners that would be familiar with the Eastern Goldfields in Western Australia, where the age of mineralisation systems is measured in terms of billions of years. And of course, during such long periods of time, you've had very complex deformation, and that makes the subsurface mapping of mineralisation that much more difficult. Now at Bao, we have the advantage that the main structural trends that are controlling the distribution of mineralisation are actually even quite clearly visible in satellite imagery. And this, of course, makes the predictions from an exploration point of view that much more certain. What we are primarily targeting at Bao is fault trend intersections. These intersections provide the space-creating mechanisms which have allowed the mid-tertiary intrusives to punch up from beneath and transport their associated mineralised charged fluids into the shallower geological layers, which have been traditionally mined and which are our key objectives.
So, as you mentioned, the focus has been on bringing the in-country footprint up and functioning well in Sarawak. How does Malaysia compare as a mining jurisdiction against other Southeast Asian countries, and what level of landholder or government consultation has been needed to operate in the region?
Malaysia overall is a very stable jurisdiction to work within, all the more so the Sarawak state, because it has a degree of autonomy with respect to the management of its resources. Probably it's best to answer your question, Alex, by noting that Malaysia has in the past been part of the British Commonwealth, and of course, being so, adopted common law principles, including a legal framework for mining, which resembles that the viewers would be more familiar with in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and of course the UK. So we have a system whereby the tenements are granted by the Crown. In addition, Sarawak has a promotional incentivisation scheme for the state economy, which is based around certain tax concessions for mining companies. And importantly, also, it doesn't impose any royalty on gold production. Now, to the second part of your question there about the landholder and government consultation, look, it's basically consistent with that found in any of the countries I've just mentioned. And I would say that because Bao has had a long history connected to mining, it also has significant community support for mining. It's still being a significant service centre for the numerous limestone quarries that are active within the district. Bao also lies within about 45 minutes drive from Kuching, which is Sarawak's capital, and so it benefits from a very extensive and modern infrastructure, all of which provide great support to Bao's forward programs.
And finally, Ray, given the extensive exploration program you've undertaken, and you've delved into that a bit earlier, can we expect drill results in the next few weeks? And also, what are some of the other near-term operational catalysts that we can expect as we enter 2022?
Well, firstly, Alex, I'd really like to give a plug to our in-country team. As I say, we only listed back in October, and the ability of the team to deliver within such a short time frame of listing really highlights their can-do ability. And that should provide a good backdrop of confidence to your listeners on the future ability of Besra to be able to deliver on what we believe is an outstanding new gold development opportunity in Southeast Asia. Our current drilling program is focused on 4 key areas within that 8 by 15 kilometre corridor that I've mentioned. In particular, it's focused on low-risk infill and step-out drilling, specifically designed to increase our overall resource inventory as well as our overall head grades. We're currently drilling at Jugan, our most advanced project, where we have measured, indicated, and inferred resources of nearly 1 million ounces. After we finish at Jugan, we will be moving to the other end of the corridor down to Pedgeru, where coincidentally we also have nearly 1 million ounces of inferred resource. And here we'll be looking at the drilling upgrading part of that resource to measured and indicated classifications. In total, the drilling program we have underway at the moment is for 3,000 to 4,000 metres of drilling, and this will provide drilling results on a regular basis through at least until the end of this financial year. In conjunction with this, we're also undertaking additional metallurgical and processing studies to supplement those previously undertaken, including, importantly, studies on ore blending from the various deposits. An environmental impact assessment report for Jugan is also now currently underway. And collectively, all of these studies will provide input to drive our mine planning and plant design for the next stage of Besra's growth. And 2022 will obviously be a very critical year for that.
Fantastic, Ray. Really appreciate you joining us. All the best for, as you said, a very busy 2022, and we look forward to further progress as it comes to hand. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks very much.